science is an important tool to address human rights and environmental concerns of our time. It is an important tool available to human rights activists, human rights defenders, lawyers around the world who want to address some of the critical issues.
I firmly believe that scientists have a social responsibility to contribute to positive social change. And for me, that has taken a few different forms. So one of the ways I've been able to do that is through my own research. I look at language, I study how people understand each other, I look at individual differences among people, I look at how differences in life experience and background contribute to what we're observing now. I look at the impact of political climate on people's attitudes, etc. And I think that's one way scientists can, tie their research back to the real world, is to step outside of the little bubble that we sometimes put ourselves in and take a look around and try to contextualize the questions we're asking.
What we develop and the technology that we develop, not everyone has a similar right to that. And so how can we help more of the world to have clean water, pollution-free air, those type of things which can be improved and dealt with directly by scientists?
We believe in the importance of corporate accountability and strong legal systems. So we think that it's really, really important that we rebalance the power imbalance that exists right now. Right now, corporate enterprise is able to externalize the true costs of their profit on people and on the environment. And so we try to rebalance that by supporting and finding advocates who, use their power, use community power, community advocacy, civil society, to rebalance that a bit and say, wait a minute, we have the information, we have the data, we have the legal prowess to stand up and protect vulnerable communities. So the connection, as we see it, is an inextricable one.
I've also been able to do some research on what I call academic activism. So I've worked with my supervisor to look at gender equity in Canada for Canadian cognitive scientists. So we did a study where we looked at federal funding grants and how they were disseminated to women and men within our field. And we found that there was a noticeable disparity that emerged at the postdoctoral stage. It wasn't there at the undergrad and graduate stage, but then postdoc, which is really critical, career transition point, you started seeing this inequity, and it just got bigger and bigger as people went further in their career. And so through that work, I was able to write a paper, speak to policymakers about that work, speak to university administrators about that work, and kind of try to advocate for gender equity in my specific field. But also I think that as students, as people who are part of a campus or people who are part of any sort of institution, we can also advocate for human rights, social justice outside of the constraints of the lab, of the classroom, etc.
There's a real opportunity for scientists to have a more prominent role in international policy making, because all of the really important topics that places like the UN are tackling, climate change, migration, women's rights, education, clean water, everything could really use insights from science. And so it feels really good as someone who works in the science policy space to be able to tap into this wealth of research knowledge we have that can actually help inform current day policies. We may not have a very specific study that focuses on that very specific policy question, but we have bodies of research that can really tell us a lot and help shape decision making.